So hi guys, how are you all doing today? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Juliettsstyleglam. If this is your first time on my channel, thank you so much for being here. And if you already subscribed to my channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so today, before I go further, I just want to apologize for the previous video. Um, that's exactly, I think I've talked about the fact that I suffer from, dizzy spells. That's something what you guys saw yesterday is exactly what was going on with me. Anyway, thank God today I feel much better, and hopefully it's going to continue that way because I haven't had it in a while. So today's post it's also let me call it a continuation, or rather it's a bounce from the video or from the video of I talked about yesterday. And today's post, I said I was going to discuss it because we don't have a lot of people talking about it. Of course, probably because in the western part of the world, it's nothing. I wouldn't say it's not a big deal, because we still have some very, funny people who have certain ideologies about it. But then I just want to talk about, the fact that in Africa and and in Nigeria especially, this is something that is rampant, is growing, and it's not stopping, So today we're going to be talking about the stigma of being a single mother in Nigeria. And I'm going to use Nigeria more because I think that there's a lot of excesses that are happening back home, and I don't know, because other African countries, I'm not sure. I don't know, but I'm going to speak for Nigeria. And why I'm saying it also is because based off of what we talked about yesterday, in the previous video rather, about Ehizioje, who is a mother of three. And there was something she said that, touched me. She said, when I got married to my husband, I didn't get married to him, believing or imagining that we're going to get separated or divorced. So first of all, I just want to talk about this stigma, because, and I want to ask, these questions. I mean, I really want to ask these questions to, these people, because I don't understand why it's her sin, or it's the sin on her because she's a single mom. All right. So I want to ask, you holier than thou people, if there was anywhere in the woman's, life where she ever thought that, okay, she's going to, be in this situation, or she was going to get married and divorced, or her husband was going to die. I mean, who knows when we're going to die? Just like we don't know when we're born. Who knows when you're going to die? So a widow, someone who's a widow, someone who was widowed, someone who was divorced, or someone who, for one reason or the other, there is some man somewhere who refuses to take responsibility for something that two consenting adults did. So my question is, where is the woman's fault in all of this? I'm trying so hard to understand that. Because we are also we're living in a world right now where, of course, we've got a lot of men who are now thinking, oh, no, I don't want to get married. I just want to have kids. And we have men who are saying, I'm not getting married to the person who is having my kids. We're just going to live together. We're going to have kids, and that's it. And many of these decisions for them were caused by trauma, probably of what they saw growing up. So it's okay for a man, to actually take up this kind of decisions and decide this is what he wants to be. And, and there's this thing that irritates me and annoys me when I hear it's a man. I'm still blinking what? So he's a man. So what makes him different from, what does that mean? He's a man. A woman isn't a human being, or she's supposed to be an animal, or is she supposed to be the name of something? I'm just trying to get around it. So when we bring out these issues and we talk about things like this, my question still remains, why does society think that it's okay for a man to decide he wants to take up such decisions and do certain things, but then a woman oh, boom, whoa, I read a story yesterday. I think it was a tweet about said it was the Supreme Court judge. I'm not even sure if it's true, but if it were, and the fact that he said his ex-wife, and found out that the three kids he had were not his. And then he gave a press statement, and I was like, okay, you're giving a press statement. You're talking about the children that you love so much, how you've been taking care of them, blah, 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 blah. Then you give a press statement. You speak about the fact that they're not your kids. And then you also cite the woman's boyfriend or boyfriend. And then someone opened and said, they're giving women a bad name. What do you mean? I mean, men have been doing the same thing for years. A man gets kids or has children outside of his marriage, and it's like a pat on the back, and the woman is supposed to like bear it and say, okay, bring the child home. And then this is reverse roles now. Is now like you're supposed to be, you now speak as though you're doing her a favor. No, fatherhood is more than a DNA. Fatherhood, being a father, is more than genetics and a DNA. Okay, so if you've been a good father to someone or a child who is not yours, does that erase you from being that child's father? Does it stop you from being that child's father? And certain things that aren't meant to be for the children's ears, now you can't hold out a press conference. So I'm just trying to put the similarities to certain things that society has deemed it's okay. For example, in Nigeria, that a woman is single, okay, not even a single mother, but she's single, and then she now is a single mother, okay? She cannot rent an apartment. There are certain landlords that cannot sell property to her, okay? And I'm asking why? What is the rule that is stopping her from being able to do that? There are cases of a woman who had to actually wear a wedding ring to be able to do certain things because she wasn't even in the bank. She could not do certain things in the bank. And I'm asking, who are these? I don't think who are these people? Where do they get off being judgmental? Who gave them that right? Who told you that you could be the judge, jury, and and everything over someone else's life? I mean, have you thought about the fact that most of these women who are in this situation, have you thought of the fact that what they are going through? Now, maybe if you don't know, let me spell it out to you. As a single mom, okay, I have them written down and I also have another example that is linked to this. As a single mom, okay, these are the things that a single mom goes through. She's undergoes financial strain. So for those of you who think or imagine that, okay, she decided to get pregnant because she felt like getting pregnant, no, she goes through financial strain. She has emotional challenges as well. I mean, this is a woman who has to most times choose between having, being there for her child and even going after love again because she's not sure what this other person is going to be bringing forth for her. She's not even sure that, she doesn't even want to even go through the emotional roller coaster of, probably even getting pregnant. She's just afraid of everything. Because when you're heartbroken, I mean, your heart is going through its own trauma, your head is going through its own trauma. So if you people are not thinking, or if you guys are not thinking, now I'm explaining it to you that she also has feelings. She's a human being. She's not a toy. She's not a stick. She's not something that is supposed to lay down and somebody gets to lie over her and then makes her pregnant and then she has no feelings. She's a human being. She's got blood going through her veins. So she goes through financial strain, the emotional challenges. And then she harbors the guilt, the blame, okay, of it all. Meanwhile, there is this man who did the deed and he's just on his own. He has gone his own way. But she's going through all this, because she was hoping and she wanted and she prayed that she was going to have it different. She thought about the happily ever after. She wanted that, but she did not get it. I've heard of women who actually the man went to the family, paid the bride price, they did this, they did that, put her in the family way, boom, and he disappears. Is that supposed to be her fault? Have we thought about the things that we put these people through psychologically by stigmatizing them? You know, we're not talking about the fact that they also go through work-life challenges. And it's hard because being able to balance, your work, your life, who's going to take care of the children, who's going to help me do this, it's a lot. And especially in society in Nigeria where nothing is planned. And unfortunately, we are headed by a cattle. A cattle rearer is the person in the front. The guy is just totally clueless. And then we as a society now begin to add to that cluelessness of a majority. Sometimes I feel that using the word patriarchy is so tush, I'm not sure. I just feel it's tush. Because I don't know. Why don't we just call it being stupid, being egoistic, foolish? I don't know. When I use the word patriarchy, it sounds so sophisticated in my ears, So yeah, and we could go on and on and on and on. Okay, I know initially I said that maybe because in this side of town it's not seen that way, but it's not true because we've had circumstances where it has shown that even in the Western world, we've had prime ministers, presidents who speak flippantly, And again, this takes me back to the story of Chanel, which I also highlighted in the previous video. I'll also attach it in this video as well, which brings me to the story of Chanel. In one of her interviews, she said, the world is only run by men who think about one thing: how to subdue a woman and how to get on with her. If you don't have money, they look for how to oppress you. Then the society gives you no choice. They tell you because you're poor, you're a woman, go get married or become a nun. Those are two statements she made, and it hit home. And this is France in the 14th century or 40th century. No, what am I saying? This is France in the early 14th century. And she made that statement. And you begin to ask yourself, how? Oh, sorry, in the 19th century. You begin to ask yourself, how? How is it possible? 20th century, I'm sorry. The 20th century. It's so hard when you're trying to move in from one century into the other. It was 20th century. And this was the 20th century. And then you ask yourself, what made Chanel decide she was going to rebel against the society? And, reading and going through the documentary about her, you begin to kind of try to excuse some of the things that she did, in her lifetime. So I'm just, worried about the fact that I feel that most women are, especially in Africa, we are an endangered species. And we are endangered because of the fact that we're women, because of the fact that there are certain things. Even a woman who is successful is an endangered species. Because most of the people who are hanging around you, if they are men, are all there because of something they want to get from you. And the moment they are able to get those things and probably ruin you, then they will deal with you. That's how sick their mind works. And so, when I think about this, I'm not saying this lightly. I'm saying that the stigma has to stop because there are so many things that come into play here, and we have to be thinking about how these people, how do they cope? I know for sure that in France tends to take care of single mothers with kids more and give them more benefits than, if you were married, because they want to take care of them. But that is neither here nor there, because at a certain point, it becomes like you're being done a favor, and you really want to be able to fend for yourself at a certain time and just let go. So I call it the devil's gift. But then, yes, one of the reasons they are doing it is to remove that stigma, to make them okay and feel good, So again, going back to all I said, I'm just saying that this has to stop. And this is this has been going on for a long time. It's not even in my generation. It's not even in it has been on for a while. I recall growing up, I had a neighbor, a very beautiful woman. And you see, that's why most times as adults, we've got to be careful the kind of things we say where children are. We've got to be careful the kind of message we're passing because they pick up on it. I recall growing up, there was this lady, she was my neighbor. And then, pretty lady, with very beautifully endowed. And I recall I heard a lot the gist about she being unmarried and had no husband and had no child. Remember, I heard this. Innocently, I saw this same lady walking by. And I was sitting down there. I recall I was sitting with my mom. And I made that statement, just verbatim. Verbatim. And I said, that's this one that has refused to marry, that doesn't have husband. My mom looked at me and said, will you shut the hell up? Where did you get that from? I had no clue what I said because was wrong, but this was the story, this was the gist that was going on everywhere. It was gossip. I heard it verbatim. Okay? Now, I will also recall when I was in school, I recall my parents used to come for my birthday at the time. So it was your birthday, your parents would come, they bring all sorts of goodies, cakes, and all that. And they came to school. My class teacher at the time, I recall, because of course, when you have your birthday, your class teacher gets the large chunk of whatever it is that you're celebrating. And I recall I took some cake to him and I presented it to him innocently. And he said to me, what is this? And I said, oh, it's my birthday today. And no, I went to him and I told him, I said, my parents will be here today. My parents hadn't come, they hadn't arrived there. So my parents will be here today, so it's my birthday, so I'll come and see you later. And he was like, your parents, how do you know that your parents are coming? To me, that statement felt super weird. And I'm like, what do you mean by this? And I'm like, but my parents are coming. I actually felt, insulted. I'm like, my parents are coming. He said, how do you know your parents are coming? And I was like, why this question? I was like, because I know my parents are coming. And then he said, do they live together? Even as a young teenager, I felt that questioning was inappropriate. And I was like, yes. I didn't understand. I didn't get where he was going to with that statement. And then he said, okay, all right, you would have told me that because most of these children you see here that misbehave anyhow come from broken homes. And I'm going to leave you with that food for thought. I never forgot that statement. I recall I never got to see that man. I never went to see him in the office. I never got that, whatever he was doing. I think for me, not like I picked offense, but it was just like I zoned out. I can't even remember his name. But he was my class teacher, but I don't remember his name. I recall what he looks like, but I don't recall his name. I zoned out. Until date, I never forgot that statement. This was happening in the 90s. And then here we are in 2021. This kind of statements are still going on. And I think it's time for us as people, as individuals, because if we don't begin to unlearn, nothing is going to change. It's a conscious effort to begin to unlearn, to demystify, and to destigmatize. Certain things society has put forth for, as norms are actually wrong and should not be. And it's up to us as individuals, as people, to do that and do it differently. Change the narrative. It's up to us to do it differently and change the narrative. And this is where women upholding women come in. This is where our strength in character comes in. And again, I also want to challenge men, because men also have a form of unlearning and changing to do. If they don't do it, we still are the ones fighting for ourselves. There has to be a form of unlearning. We have to get our men to shed off the ego, to shed off the patriarchy, to shed off the stupidity, and understand that once it is good for a woman, for one woman, it is good for everyone. And on this note, guys, I'm going to bid you all bye-bye. Do not fail to like, share, comment on this video, and push notification button so that whenever I upload a video, you will also be able to watch and get first-hand information on my videos. Again, as well, do not fail to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Follow me on all my social media networks. It's all juliettsstyleglam, except Twitter, which is julietstyle. And until my next video, I'll see you guys. Bye-bye.
When I'm down, she's right there to turn me around, make it alright. Makes me feel like I need to. She's loving me all through the night. You're my